So, it's been a strange year.
That's an understatement.
But I was thinking earlier that this could be perhaps the most authentic Christmas that we've had ever in our lifetimes, because...
Well, if you're in Scotland, 1958, up until 1958, it was just a normal working day.
Yeah, but I wasn't around in 1958. You
Good
might
point.
have been. So, really, back in the day one, or day zero, was that day zero?
No, it's day one.
Day one. Everyone displaced. Everyone going back to their hometown to be counted for a census. They certainly wouldn't have planned to have their bairn in a stable. I mean, I know they wouldn't have had great maternity hospitals, but you'd at least expect to be around your family and friends. And this year, we might have planned to be around our family and friends, but let's not mention the elephant in the room.
No, but we all know which the elephant looks like.
Yeah.
Thing is, a lot of people I know have been talking about we need to get back to a simpler Christmas, where it's more focusing on what Christmas is really about the birth of Jesus. And, you know, as we heard in the passage from Isaiah, the people who walk in darkness have seen a great light. And it's one of my favourite passages of scripture. But you've got this great idea of this Messiah coming and bringing peace and joy and being a mighty counsellor. And you think he's going to come in with a bang and a wallop. And the day that he came, where everything, you could argue, changed, he came in with a whimper and a sigh.
This certainly wasn't the great leader they were expecting. Certainly wasn't the king, someone who was going to overthrow Roman oppression and take on the throne of David. It was just baby. What do? They scream and they poop.
Need fed,
yeah. You know, there's not a lot of overthrowing taking place there.
And the first people, as we heard in Luke's Gospel, to come to see him are scared out their wits because there's angels come. And there is no point in the Bible where an angel arrives and people go, "Hiya, how you doing?" They all go, "Oh, this isn't a good sign."
And the first thing the angels always say is, "Do not be afraid." Every time an angel appears, don't be afraid.
But I think if an angel walked in here just now, we would be terrified because we'd be thinking, okay. But the shepherds are terrified, and the angel tells them about this Messiah has been born. Doesn't tell the people in Bethlehem, tells some, frankly, random dudes up on a hill who are looking after sheep. But they actually take the risk of leaving those sheep alone, which they wouldn't have been their own sheep probably. That would have been their job, is to look after someone else's sheep. And they take the risk of leaving those sheep alone because they believe so much in the message these angels have brought them.
It's so it's dereliction of duty on their part, but if anything, they've now got a new duty to go and, proclaim.
Yeah, and arguably the first people to proclaim the good news of Jesus as the Messiah were the shepherds.
Yeah.
And although we never heard the passage, they closely followed by the wise men, who were foreigners who worshipped almost certainly God rather than God, and who weren't the right kind of people to be worshipping the Messiah or telling people about the Messiah.
So I think this year a simpler Christmas has been thrust upon us. That's not to belittle the tragedy that families have experienced all across the country, because we're, what time of filming in the UK, 60,000 dead, millions dead across the world. It's been a terrible year, and for every victim, for every number, for every one person, that's families and friends all grieving, and not to mention the healthcare staff that have had to look after them. So this is, we are in turmoil. Although, as my mum does keep saying every time I phone her, you know, she grew up in Clydebank, Atherley, in post-war era, but the Blitz was a living memory then, and she does keep saying, aye, at least I haven't got bombs dropping in my head.
There is that, but sometimes bombs dropping on your head are a visible thing that you could see why you need to be careful. It's when it's something that we're having to tackle. But, you know, it is the darkness, but the light shines in the darkness. You know, the people who walk in darkness have seen a great light. That great light came to the shepherds and angels proclaiming the good news, and them going and seeing that light, not in photons, but in a baby, born to ordinary parents who were made extraordinary through looking after and bringing up God's Son.
Now, normally when we do a watch night service, it's one of the minister's tricks of the trade is there are always a little bit of padding in the script so that when midnight rolls round, we can light the candle exactly on the stroke of midnight. But we're not doing that today because this is 11 o'clock on Christmas Eve morning. It's the first time we've done a watch night service in daylight, and much as I love the people in Strathpeffer to pieces, it's great no having to come back to Strathpeffer at 12:30 on a Christmas Eve morning. So I'm declaring this right now, Christmas Day, and I'll probably cut in the film to lighting the candle just now, but I wish you all a very Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.